Hi everyone. In this video we're going to take a look at installing the tools we need for Java web development. So those big three tools are the Java JDK, the Java Development Kit, which has our Java compiler and debugger. Then we're going to also install our Eclipse IDE. We're going to be installing the Java Enterprise Edition or the Java EE package from Eclipse. And that IDE has a bunch more tools over the regular version. Then we're also going to be installing our third piece of software, which is our Apache Tomcat server. And I'm going to go online, I'm going to show you where to get all these things. I've already downloaded them to my desktop because my internet is egregiously slow. So, first thing we need to get is the JDK. So I'm going to go ahead and just type in JDK into a Google search. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click this link here. You could find it off Oracle's page here. I'm going to go ahead because I know it's kit number 8 that I want. And I think there is a JDK 9. I'm not sure if it's stable or not. To be blunt with you, the differences between these different kits don't really matter terribly much for our course. There might be subtle differences that we run into, but they're relatively the same. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to download 8U152. Again, if you download 8U151, it'll probably be fine. You're going to go ahead and you're going to read the license agreement, right? I know I am. Let's go through that now. Okay, that was a really good license agreement. Again, if you don't click these radio buttons here and you try to download something, you're going to get a little angry gram from Oracle saying you need to accept the license agreement. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click this little radio button. You should get a thank you message. Then, of course, you're going to select your download for your computer. So if you're on Linux, you would select one of these. If you're on Mac, you want this one. And if you're on a modern version of Windows, you probably want the very last one. I'm going to go ahead. Again, I've already downloaded it. It's already over here, but I'm on Mac, and so I would want that one. And so again, my internet's slow. I'm just going to cancel that right away. So that's the first thing we need. The next thing we need is going to be the Apache Tomcat server. And this is our HTTP server. Again, we're going to basically use our laptops, our computers, not only as our development environment, but also as an HTTP server. But before we can do that, we need to install an HTTP server. We're going to go ahead and use Apache Tomcat for the course. We're going to be using version number 8. We're not going to be using 8.5. I'm going to be using 8.0. And so if you scroll down, you'll first see 8.5. I'm going to be using 8.0. Now, to be honest with you, there's probably not a big difference between 8.0 and 8.5, but I'm just going to use 8.0 because why not? Now, if you're using Windows, you can go ahead and you can use a window installer. You could click this one and it'll install Apache for you through a nice installer. Unfortunately, on Mac, you would click this first one and it's a zip file. It's only about 10 megabytes, and that's where you would get the zip file for Tomcat. And again, that's our HTTP server. That's going to serve up our dynamic web pages. Next, what we need is the Eclipse IDE. So I'm going to go ahead and type in Eclipse. And if you go ahead, you can basically get it from the main page here. Again, you don't want the Java IDE, the regular Java IDE, you want Java Enterprise Edition. And the Enterprise Edition includes a bunch of useful tools for us, such as Maven. And it's got a bunch of web developer tools as well. So if you scroll down, you'll see the package description, but you should also see download links again. If you're in Windows, you probably want this one. If you're on Mac, you definitely want this one. When you click that, you should be taken to a download page. Yes, you click the big orange download button. You should see thank you for downloading Eclipse. And again, I'm going to cancel that because my internet is super slow. And I'm going to go ahead and close my web browser. Now, I've got all the files already downloaded. Again, it's the JDK, our Java compiler, debugger, all the good stuff, the Apache Tomcat server, and the Eclipse IDE, so we can develop our dynamic websites. First thing I'm going to do, I would always install it in this way. If you've already installed the Eclipse IDE Enterprise Edition package, it doesn't make a big difference. The install order shouldn't matter too much, but I would always install the JDK first. So when you pop that up in a Mac, you should see, and then double click that, and you'll go through, maybe ask to type in your password for authorization. And we'll make sure we're installing version 8 and 1.5.2. And we'll go ahead and click close, and then we'll close that. Installing Apache on Mac is a bit weird. Again, with Windows, the install server in service is pretty nice. In Mac, it's not too bad though. You would go ahead and you would extract this zip file, double click it on Mac, and you'll get this little folder that appears here. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a Finder window. I'm going to click on Applications, and I'm just going to drag Apache Tomcat server over. Now, you can install that anywhere. You can drag it anywhere you want. I would recommend dragging it somewhere where you're going to remember where you put it, because we're going to need to use it later. We're going to need to remember where we put it. In Windows, if you're using the install server, it may install to program files x86. Make sure you can find it. Otherwise, you can put it really anywhere you would want. So one, I would recommend putting it in a good place that you'll remember, like Applications. But then I would also, again, make sure you can find it. But then also putting it in a place where you're not going to move it later. Because again, we don't want to move it later. Once we get this stuff set up and good to go, we don't want to be moving it around, because that'll break our web server. Eclipse won't be able to find the HTTP server Tomcat, and then bad things will happen. So again, move it to a place and keep it there. Again, that could be your desktop if you want, but I would just do it once and forget. So once we're done with that, we can go ahead and click and close that. And then, of course, we can install the Eclipse IDE. And again, I'm going to be using the Oxygen package. You can go ahead and use Neon. If you're using Neon, it doesn't make a big difference. In Windows, you'd probably be taken through an installer. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to drag Eclipse over into Applications. Now, when I open up Finder in Applications, I should see Eclipse and Apache Tomcat. So again, in this video, we looked at installing the JDK to get our compiler and debugger and all the good the Java development tools. We installed the Apache Tomcat HTTP server, so we have a server that will serve up our web pages. And then we also installed the Eclipse Java Enterprise Edition IDE. So again, that's how I would install it in Mac, and again, Windows, it should be very similar. Instead of using zips, you'll probably have Windows installers, but it should be a pretty similar experience. Definitely let me know if you have any questions about how to install this. Thanks so much.